Welcome to Unleash Your Inner Goldilocks, How to Get It Just Right. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode that is going to be filled with insightful conversation. And today is going to be extra special because I am going to be having a conversation with an amazing woman I worked with when I was the Chief Financial Officer for the Chicago Teachers Pension Fund. And she was running the financial organization for the CPS, Chicago Public School System. And you are going to love the insight she's going to bring. And we are going to be talking about what does it take to get public sector just right? How do we balance the financial processes with technology in a way that it serves its people? And how do we build human relationships so that we can bring the people into the process and truly build an environment where government serves people and people participate in the government's processes so that we build a sustainable ecosystem. So without further ado, please welcome Melinda Gildart to Unleash Your Inner Goldilocks.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Cass. It's so great to see you again and hear from you again, and I'm so looking forward to this conversation today.
I am stoked about it. While we met in Chicago and we worked in Chicago together, now we're both sitting here in Texas. It's
Yes,
amazing how life takes turns, right? So talk
yes.
to us a little bit about what got you into the governmental finance and what have you learned in being one of the GFOA government finance officers members shaping the public sector?
Well, I've always wanted to give back. My very first job was like a camp counselor. I've always wanted to work with people. And if you look at my background, every position that I held had a higher purpose to it. It wasn't just, getting that paycheck and making sure all the numbers tied out. It was whether it was an indirect or a direct impact on the citizens, on the constituents, on the stakeholders, whether it's the students of Chicago Public Schools or the park patrons or the Chicago Park District, all these citizens of the city of Chicago, the state of Illinois, the state of Texas that drive our roads via the Texas Department of Transportation. There's always been that greater purpose that I look for in every role that I've chosen. And having the relationship with the Government Finance Officers Association, GFOA, over the last 15 years has allowed me to interact with even more state and local governments across the country. I have great relationships and long-term relationships with folks from New York through California, small governments, mid-sized governments, special districts, utilities, school districts. It really runs the gamut and allowed me to have such a diverse experience and background to be able to have those conversations and to be able to support and help them out with their needs.
I have actually had the pleasure of working side by side with you and shaping some of the positive change we needed to make in the city of Chicago with the public school system and teachers' pensions, and organizations overlapped. And we actually worked hand in hand to make changes and change laws to bring about change. So I am thrilled that you are now taking a step out of government to start your own consulting practice, to then take all your acumen and experience to go and help various government sector organizations and partner with private sector organizations like us so that you become the bridge and the connector to amplify what you were able to do by being in one organization. So talk to us a little bit about what are you looking forward to doing? And what does the future look like for you?
Well, in my prior roles, and thank you so much, Cass. I'm so excited about relaunching my accounting services and financial services business. I still want to help people. I still want to have that direct impact on people's lives and making them better and making a real difference for our stakeholders, whether whoever they may be. So I'm so looking forward to, sitting down with those small businesses and helping them out, helping those mom and pops, have their dreams come true and realize those dreams and ambitions that they have for their families to create generational wealth, especially in those marginalized areas in communities in this country. In addition to some challenges, I love problem solving. So at the highest level, where the municipalities and states and helping resolve their budgetary problems and financial reporting, internal control problems, there's a balance there. So I can sit side by side with a mom and pop and then also be at the table with the big boys, working on new budget proposals and projections.
I am excited for what you're going to be doing, especially as we look at the incoming administration and their plans to actually bring about efficiencies and making government smaller. That requires revisiting all the processes, integrating technology, and removing bottlenecks. And those are some of the things that you have been doing, that you and I have done together in our respective organizations. Where do you see some of this work that you can do in partnership with other organizations so that as you build your business, what does that look like?
Well, with the incoming administration, we don't want to just get on that doomsday platform that, oh, everything is going to change and it's going to be all for the worse. Sometimes it really takes, taking a step back and taking a look at your processes and looking at your business flows and just, having that new set of eyes and realizing that, we can do things cheaper, faster, better. So not being resistant to change, no matter where it's coming from, no matter what the origin is, the end result can still be positive, and to keep that mindset going in. But realistically, as we're looking to downsize and reduce government, so to speak, that means that the folks that are left are going to have more work. They're going to have more work realistically, or you're really going to get down to that really core staff that can keep an organization afloat. So what does that mean? That means looking around at your staff, determining their needs and their abilities do they align with what the new realism looks like, what your new reality is for that organization. And you're going to need people like me to help you out.
Absolutely, absolutely. So process and strategy and integration of technology and creating the ability to do more with less
Yes,
and agility and scalability all becomes the norm. And all of a sudden, government is going to look like the private sector,
yes,
right?
yes.
And so we're going to start seeing the lines blur. And this is a fantastic time for you to start relaunching your business and getting back to some of these other things. So when you start thinking about serving governmental organizations, whether it's federal or state or municipal or local, and also side by side helping businesses, what are you the most excited about?
Oh my goodness, it's kind of unfair because, my wheelhouse has been government and non-for-profits for almost 25 years. But when I mentioned relaunching my business, Guildflow Consulting Services, yes, I actually tried to, start up a few years ago, and I was just kind of pulled back in. I wasn't ready to let go of the commitment that I had to government at the time. And now I'm hearing voices and they're saying it's time, Melinda. The time is right. you can do this. Let's do this. So I'm really excited about embracing more of the small business side. I did have a few small business clients in the past and just wonderful relationships. And I feel so proud of what I was able to help them accomplish. And just, I have no regrets about it. So I'm looking to expand upon that and especially different industries. I love just, learning about newer industries as well. I don't want to just stay in one area. I want to be able to diversify, and that's kind of what my background is. I've worked at the states and the city level, federal level, special districts, education, financial authorities. It just really runs the gamut, and so that's what has kept me going all these years is having those new challenges and building upon each success.
This is going to be a fun ride for you, and
Yes.
the sky is the limit. But it is also going to be different from working for the government, right? In the government, there are players, and you have to go through the chain of command,
Yes.
and everything has to fall within that rubric. Whereas when you're an entrepreneur and you're doing this, you have to be willing to take chances, build relationships, build an ecosystem, and you can't go it alone. You have to go together.
Yes.
What does that shared journey look like for you? And what would ideal partnership look like?
You mentioned ecosystem, Cass, and just thinking about all of the folks that I've met over the last 25 years, and now I'm like, yes, I have a guy that knows that, or yes, I know her, she can do that. And it's just everything is just so wide open. It's so wide open, and it's like walking down memory lane. But these are folks that you're still connected to, and that you would love to engage with further, and especially something that's promoting your brand and that's going to further what you want to do and what you want to get accomplished out of your life. And I'm so looking forward to reaching back and connecting with folks that maybe I worked on a project on 10 years ago, and they moved from Chicago to New York, or down here to Texas like I did. So just being able to reconnect is great, and then moving forward with those folks too, right? So it's a new chapter in all of those relationships.
Absolutely. And it is going to be a fantastic ride. And the ride is only limited by your ecosystem's limit of imagination, right?
Yeah.
As long as we can be limitless, what we can accomplish also can be limitless. Have you ever thought about taking your US government expertise and experience and helping foreign governments? Because government is still government.
Hmm.
And there are governments that are in their infancy trying to figure out how to do things differently. And there is some value in what you're doing.
Absolutely. And I so look forward to reaching out and being involved in those foreign government operations and projects. Because, yes, it's at the end of the day, we all have the same struggles. We're all supporting our citizenry, we're all supporting our stakeholders. We are in this to make the lives of people better. So it doesn't matter if it's this country or another country, the intent, the objective, and the desire is the same.
I am glad to hear you say that because ultimately, when it comes right down to it, there is only a single race, right? We're all part of the human.
Yes. Yes.
And if we can make life for the human race better, and if each environment can function efficiently, then we don't spend the energy fighting with each other. We spend the energy cooperating and co-creating. And
Mhm.
I always tell myself, we're all part of the African diaspora, whether we accept it or not, genetically, biologically, that is reality. And you and I talked before the recording about your desire to, in some way, shape, or form, get engaged in Africa. And Africa is projected to have double-digit GDP growth, unlike any other continent. It has 54 countries, and almost 75 to 80% of their population is under 50 years old. and about 50% of the population is under 25 years old. So they're young, they're going to be the users of technology, they are consuming technology, so the opportunity is tremendous, and the population is there. So I am curious to see what places you're going to end up going and what kind of work you're going to end up doing because of your passion to go back and help an emerging continent.
Yes, I'm very excited about that. It's always been a dream of mine to have some impact on the motherland and to be able to help improve those folks' lives over there. They're making so many strides, especially financially, in the last couple of decades, and it's just limitless. It's limitless. They're untapped markets. They can definitely be the front runners in GDP in the next century, and we want to get them there. We want to help them get them there.
Absolutely. What have you learned about yourself in your 20 plus year career in the government? Because you can't go through an entire career in government, in any sector for that matter, without learning something about yourself and coming to some realizations. What have you learned and how has working for government transformed you?
What I've learned about myself is that I'm resilient, that I stayed. Government is not for the weak in some matters. When you're dealing with major budget deficits, or you're trying to get a bond authorized and issued, for reasons that would really help the citizen out, but it fails at the ballot box. So it's very interesting. You have to be resilient. You can't lick your wounds for too long. You got to get up and take on the next challenge, or dust that previous one off and reconfigure it, reformat it, put it on a new letterhead, and let's go. Let's try it again. So you really have to keep at it. Resiliency. I consider myself a change agent. You have to be patient with folks. You have to be patient with folks as fast as we want things to change, lightning speed. Government, it just takes a little bit longer to turn the train around. So be patient and be willing to stick it out to see the fruits of your labors at the end.
I love how you explain that. I come from Sri Lanka, right? So I grew up around elephants. People think carrying a baby to term in 9 months is too long. Elephants carry their babies for almost 2 years, right? So I always say change in government is like an elephant having a baby, right? It is so slow, but when it happens, it has huge impact. And so do we have the staying power to see that through is the key.
And there are so many talented young people in government too. My advice to, the folks at the top, let them speak. Hear what they're saying. They are the future. So yes, we've been in the game for a while. We have experiences, but we're not going to be here in 50 years. We're building a world for them. So give them a seat at the table. Don't shut them out.
That is a precious piece of advice, and I'm glad that you took the moment to do it, because that's the same advice we need to give the private sector too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Baby boomers are exiting
Yes.
and they've stayed for too long. Gen Xers are going to be passed by, but this is going to be handed over to the millennials. And we have to do this right and give them the support and give them the opportunity to be heard, because it is their lives and their world they're going to be building. So it's amazing how quickly time flies when we are having these exciting
Oh
conversations.
my goodness. Yeah.
So before we go further, I want you to take a moment and share with our audience how they can get a hold of you and how they can reach you to talk to you, get to know you, and engage with you.
Okay. Well, personally, I'm on LinkedIn. Just look up my profile. My business name is Gilflow Consulting Services. And go to my website. You'll learn more information about me as well. It's www.gilflowconsulting.com. That's Gilflo.
I love how you're playing with your name. And that tells me that there is this fun, creative side to you, and that is going to be necessary to creatively problem solve. So thank you for making this time to have this initial conversation. I can already tell that you and I are going to regroup again as the new government steps in to start thinking and talking about what is going to help us build a better government, what is going to help us build a better ecosystem of businesses, government, not-for-profits, and citizens, because everybody needs to come together for this
Yes,
world to work for us.
we have to.
So any closing thoughts you have before I wrap this up, Melinda?
I'm just so excited for the next chapter in my professional career. And, if I've had any engagement with you in the past, maybe getting a call from me as we look towards the future. Thank you so much, Cass, for having me.
Oh, it is my absolute pleasure. I wish you the very best. I look forward to staying with you and continuing to build this relationship. And who knows what I do in my organization, in our organization, and what you do in your organization. There might be a opportunity for us to be a part of each other's ecosystem. So let's continue to look for ways to collaborate and co-create, because in the end, we only go further for longer together.
Yes,
And when we know we have invested in a relationship, it behooves us to tap into that, harness that, and then take the goodness of that and pass it on for the betterment of everybody. So thank you
absolutely.
so much for having this conversation with me, Melinda. I wish you the very best. And I
Thank you.
cannot wait to see you in the new year so that we can regroup and figure out how we add to what we have accomplished so far. And to our audience out there, 2024 is coming to an end. 2025 is a new year. There are changes, not just in the United States, all over the world, politically and economically. It's going to take all of us to work together to figure out how we take advantage of all of this instead of being taken advantage of. So stay
Absolutely.
in touch. Stay with this community, reach out to us. Let's talk. Let's find solutions. And in the end, we have each other to build a world that befits us. So I wish you all the best, and let's keep these conversations going.
Thank you so much. God bless everyone.